It's AEW World Championship 4 Pillars 4-way match. And man, there was a lot of people doing the talking during this feud. And I was, and I came on here and talked about the low points. I talked about how they dug themselves out of it. And, by the time they got to the show, I thought it was decent, right? Then the entire time I said, this match is going to be incredible when they do it. The whole time. Yep. Now, when the 4 Pillars came out here and smoked this, I need y'all to start being very vocal as you were during the whole build. Do we act like these guys are not great wrestlers? Like, did we forget this? Like, this, like, people.
I think people can consistently get caught up in the MJF hokey stuff and lose focus on the part where it's like, nah, man, he's a great wrestler. It's just he does shit that makes you, because he's so good at his job and also at times unfocused in the way he tells stories with his promos from week to week that, like, you get lost. Sometimes you forget that. And then, like, he only wrestles once every month or less than that. So, like, once a month, he'll remind you.
Yeah, man. This was I had a lot of sensational moves. I thought Sammy Guevara was like, this is like the best night of his career. I thought he announces.
Think so?
Yes. This was like,
I think that ladder match with Cody was awesome.
Like,
I'm not arguing which match is better. This is probably better. I'm just saying, like, if I was thinking of what I think of Sammy Guevara's best moment, it's probably that ladder match still. But he was awesome in his match. He was awesome against sometimes against Danielson too.
Yeah. And he came back around and announced, him and Ty Mello are having a child and was cheered for it and came back all the way on the other side and got cheered. I saw this and I started howling. I was like, look, I knew y'all would love him again. But
I mean, they pop for the baby. It's like popping for a title change. So we'll see how this goes. Like, if I were him, I'd figure out how to find some like weird, like, I don't know if I align with JAS for now. I would do that right now.
I think they should pull the trigger. I think they should pull the trigger on the breakup, like him and Jericho.
I mean, him and
Jericho, you have to do it.
Well, not even that. All you gotta do is be like, I mean, because they've been teasing all throughout and hinted at it subtly with the looks they give each other. And I thought, like, maybe they would just do it as a storyline, eventually come out as a tag team, but, like, just do Jericho. Jericho chooses Garcia over Guevara.
And, like, be like, I thought you were gonna bring the world title back to the JAS. Like, and give it to me or whatever. Like, hold on, what?
Ooh,
like,
that's
like, hold on, what? It was like, but you.
That's like that Orton Evolution send off shit.
But you couldn't even win it. Like, that
nasty.
isn't how I trained you. From
that's
like,
nasty,
bro. You
and they'd be like, hey, well, remind me, Chris. How did you do in the last title match you had for the AEW World? Oh, you lost too?
Look.
Okay.
Look, I know there are people that hear this show. Feel free to steal. But like I said, this match was sensational. This was like a lot of big moves. This was a lot of like callback stuff. This was paying tribute to the people that kind of like put him in these positions. And this was a really fucking big match for the company too. I don't want to hear Ricky Starks crying on podcasts about what the 4 pillars don't mean and mean or whatever. Like, it means something.
What happened?
So, like, he was on a podcast basically running down the 4 pillars like concept in AEW and everything like that. It's like a 2-minute clip. It's kind of too long for me to sum up, but for me, it sounded like a whole bunch of whining and crying that it ain't him or whatever. So he was like, he don't want to be one and all this other shit. I'm like, all right, man, it's not that deep for one.
Well,
like,
I mean, for how old is Starks again?
Starks is like 32, 33, something like that.
So he's too old to be a pillar anyway.
Like,
that's
a big
one.
thing.
Two,
that's a big thing people miss with this, James, because I always see people be like, Orange Cassidy's a pillar. Orange Cassidy's 38. These guys were all here in 2019 when they were below like 26 years of age, all of them, or whatever. That's the point of it. Like, these were the guys at the beginning. That's it. That's all it is. Like, and like, it's a cute ode to All Japan or whatever. Like, and I know a lot of people that like this or whatever. So it's like, I thought this was a very like important match, like to see this through, to do it. or whatever, because there are things that didn't get to happen, James. Like, when do we ever get that Shield triple threat match at WrestleMania? No, we didn't. Like, so the fact that we got something like this, I think is really cool. From 5 years ago to right now, like, these guys were able to like build themselves up to whatever level they're on. Are some of them not finished products? Sure. Some of them aren't. They're not who they're gonna be yet. But
yeah, and look, just because the company would like it to be so does not mean like they will end up being like 4 world champions eventually. I never thought it was ever in the cards for or whatever else. That's not how pro wrestling works. Where you say, hey, we got this plan, and then because we're so great at booking pro wrestling, it will work out exactly as we want it to 5 years from now, and no one will get hurt. No one will ever quit. No one will ever get another job somewhere else. Like, that's not how that works. Like, hell, look at Rossi with the Golden Generation shit, right? Himeka's already fucking gone.
Right.
Like, that's not how this works.
And the whole thing is like the fan service of people that have been watching AEW from the beginning. This is for that. And and I think there's too many people that either are trying to not care about that, downplay that, anything like that, when that's like, look, that shit was a whole hell of a lot hotter. Look, we want to start talking about what people were reacting to and shit.
Yep.
It was these guys, the guys in the main event, and then this shit. Yep. Like, all the people.
To be fair though. And I was saying this when I was like, I don't like what this is doing for Jungle Boy. I don't like what this is doing Guevara. I always said, match is gonna be great. Why? Because it's 4 great wrestlers, and they got in the ring, and they all went out there, and it was great. And like, that's the thing when it comes down to it. Like, regardless of whether or not like you were into the build or not, the main thing is like they're giving you a match that you know is gonna be awesome. Like, you can have your points on as far as like whether or not Jungle Boy or Guevara belong, and I have them too. But you can't say the boys can go out there and get 45. You can't say that.
This is an all time, y'all got to shut the fuck up moment right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. MJF wins. Just lots of great stuff.
He wins by coffin drop from Darby onto Jungle Boy, and MJF grabs the belt and throws it on top of Jungle Boy, thereby incapacitating Jungle Boy, and then he picks up Darby, who just took a coffin drop onto the belt, and then gives the headlock takeover. Is another callback to their match, and like, hey man, it also sets up to like, hey, Darby can get another shot at this, and if he ever does beat MJF for the world title, it will be with the headlock takeover. So like, 6 months, however many months from now, like when they had that match, like that's gonna be the big near fall or the give or the crescendo on this thing. So yeah.
Also Chris Statlander like is along with like the pillars. Like, these are the people like Sam's in the comments right now. TK does stuff for others, but he looks after his core audience and the wrestlers that stuck through thick and thin. Look at how much cheering the Guns did in the pandemic before they were anyone. Same with Kip Sabian. He's a loyal guy. Yeah, I think that's a good point. But we'll see.
Yeah, because like, the thing with the loyalty thing is like, yeah, everybody, when you are Swerve has talked about this, right? As far as on interviews, how he talked about like how he felt like the person that got the most shit done for him as far as him getting shit moving in NXT was Shawn and not Triple H. But Triple H told him that like, you are my guy, and then Swerve was like, hey, but like, am I your guy like Gargano or Cole? Or I don't know if he verbalized that, but that's what Swerve was like in his mind saying, or that's what he was basically alluding to. Like, when you got, it's one thing to say that, as a booker or a head coach or whatever else, or GM, to like, you're loyal to your guys, but like, hey man, if this basketball team, this is a football team. There's 50 motherfuckers. How much loyalty can you show the 50 motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? So it's a hard balancing act. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
So in this case, it was like, I think this was a great match. Like, and this match should have happened. And,
yeah.
and I'm glad it did. So,
And luckily, like they did this at a point where like they had a match that was bigger. That they, if you have your issues with, this is the main event of AEW pay per view. Well, they can do Anna Curry in the arena. This could be some. This is more than good enough to be a main event match. So, like, they did the thing that I was wondering, like, are they going to do it? Like, are they going to put the world title in some main event? I feel like more people care about Anna Curry in the arena, and they did the right thing. Yeah. Like, this is why you can't get rigid into like this is the title, so therefore that's going to last. Like, sometimes it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
Ask Triple H at WrestleMania 25 and Randy Orton.
I probably would go like that 4.66666 on this, like
I love the match. Did I think 4 3/4? I never thought that. I thought 4.5 definitely though. I can see you saying like you're thinking about it because I mean the match was spectacular. The storytelling and the callbacks to some of the promos that I thought was kind of just MJF, from week to week doing this where he does it where like every single week he comes at a different angle to try to sell something. And then I guess this whole idea is like I have all these ideas for what I want the match to be. And like by week I will add certain things into it. This worked better than like the Daniel Bryan build, but it's still an issue where it's like it doesn't feel that coherent. Like you're watching the same person with the same, issues from week to week. It feels like this is what I want to talk about this week, and I'll just shoehorn it in to make it a match. Right. And that's the part that feels clunky on the front end, but absolutely all this, these promos did have purpose by the end of it. So I thought it was a great achievement by all four of them dudes to be able to have that kind of match, have that kind of storytelling involved in it, have characters involved where you have, Jungle Boy and MJF, where MJF breaks kayfabe to say how after I beat you by cheating, I talked age and said, hey, you got to stop being a nice guy. And then Jungle Boy says, hey, I have thought about that stuff, but then I just leave me as being a piece of shit like you, and I ain't going out like that. And then he gets the chance to use that belt, and then he puts it down. All the stuff with can I get you in my pocket, Guevara, and then like hey, you need that money. You got to be you're going to be a family man. You want that money, and then use that to sucker him to a pin. Like all that stuff tied in. So like I really enjoyed this match. Like this is really fun match. Like I wouldn't mind rewatching this at all.
Moves, baby. Fun, Moves, baby.
Yeah, that too. Amongst all the moves, it did that. Like, not look, those four aren't quite on the Young Bucks elite level of callbacks and tying and all that kind of stuff, but this was damn good when it came to that.
Yeah,
this really was.
Up next, the main